Imagine you're watching your favorite anime, and then all of a sudden you take a look at what is on the screen. You look a little closer and you're like, wait a second here. Some of the elements on the background look a little bit suspicious. And that's what happened to this user, and it led to a whole realization. Say hi to my son, Core. So, this whole situation kicks off with a post made by this Twitter user writing, AI generated backgrounds in the opening of the new Ascendance of a Bookworm season. Very unfortunate. And the whole plot of this anime is about a book loving student who passes away under a bunch of books, gets reborn as a character in a world where books are few and far between. One interesting thing to note is that Ascendance of a Bookworm was animated by Asia No Animation Works, but by season 4, productions shifted to Wit Studio, who animated the first 3 seasons of Attack on Titan, which is personally my favorite anime. But going back to this post here, there's a couple of screen grabs of the opening, and if you take a look at the background, there are a lot of elements of the background that look very reminiscent of generative AI. Again, we have a lot of the melting happening over here with background elements. These little petals are not symmetrical. And I'm not saying that asymmetry means this is generated by AI, but the asymmetry needs to make sense. And these are just, again, things that are melting into other things. You can see here other swirly parts of the background that when you think about, okay, from a human standpoint, why would a human draw it like this? You kind of can't answer why. And that's one of the things, again, that would possibly indicate some AI generation, right? Again, massive disclaimers, because I want to say that a lot of times people are like, oh, well, does this mean I use AI? Again, right? A lot of things goes into determining whether something was AI generated or not. Here are some more backgrounds and we could take a look. But again, the point that I was trying to make is if you think of it from a human perspective, why would a human draw it like this? These are supposed to be flower petals or some sort of leaves that then end up as a blob. We have other wisps. These look like plants again that are kind of spinning. But again, what is happening here? And if you are a person, why would you draw it like this? Here we have another background. So somebody fed the character art into an AI checker to see if it was generated or not, and OP writes, there's nothing wrong with the character art. The opening was solo animated by Kazuto Nakazawa, and the drawings look great as expected. That's not the issue. And somebody else adds, so they're trying to copy the Art Nouveau style of art, but as you can see, they are AI, as real Art Nouveau has real flowers, not blobs. That's how you can tell, guys. And here you can see a kind of example here. And again, that's what I mean by like, you can tell the intention. Like here, I can tell every single one of these is supposed to be a flower on a stem that swirls in this way. These are all more flowers on stems, and even the stems, when it has a more ornamental design, there's still an intention with it. This is my son, Corn. He was caught eating something that he wasn't supposed to be eating, so now he's in YouTube jail. And somebody says, quote, no, it's not AI generated. Zooms in. Oh my effing God, bro. This is a very interesting response because a lot of people in the comments were like, well, you know, who cares about the background? You can just use AI. But this person writes, people in the comments complain that AI is meant to help with this, but there are already drawn backgrounds you can either buy or use for free from artists that put them out there. If you don't want to draw them yourself, use that. Don't freaking use AI. But then a post was made April 10th, 2026, that essentially confirms everything. So this was what was written in Japanese. A Google translated version reads, report an apology regarding the opening video for the TV anime Ascendance of a Bookworm, the Lord's Adopted Daughter. Thank you for your continued support of the TV anime. It has come to our attention following a report and confirmation from the production company, Whitco Studio, that some of the cuts in the opening sequence of this film included material created using AI. In response to this matter, the production community will consult with Wit Studio Co. and take the following actions. Episode 2, the opening sequence will be replaced with a version that has been corrected. And for the first episode, which has already been streamed, it will be gradually replaced with a revised version. Regarding Blu-ray, box DVD, if release date changes, we'll let you know. Regarding this matter, we have received numerous and varied opinions, online and elsewhere, and as a production committee, we deeply apologize for causing great concern and inconvenience to our viewers who are looking forward to the work, as well as to the original author and other related parties. Going forward, we will work in cooperation with Wit Studio Co. to review our production system and take measures to prevent this from happening again. And under a post talking about this situation, people are very split. Somebody writes, so instead of saying that from the beginning, they waited for fans to discover it, right? It's a 50-50 gamble, and God knows what they do to One Piece now. The industry is so cooked because of AI. And another user says, quote, sorry we got caught. We'll try harder next time to make it harder to catch, end quote. In a different post talking about this, people in the comments were discussing the impact this might have in Japan. Somebody said, I saw people saying that only accidents got bothered by this. I mean, this is translated from Portuguese. But I think for the studio to have to apologize like that is because it went over really badly with the Japanese as well. And this account Sakuga one writes, worst, it went over really badly in Japan too. To make matters worse, companies that get involved with AI tend to lose animators. I don't see that being the case with WIT right now, but some industry members were really put off by this. And then the updated version is out. So the Sakuga one account writes, done and done. The opening of Ascendance of a Bookworm Season 4 has been fixed, removing the scenarios made with AI. Studio WIT admitted to using generative AI in the opening by mistake, apologized, and the work was redone. And here you can see a side-by-side where you could literally look and see that almost every background was actually AI generated, because you could see which assets were replaced and which assets were not. The character art was all kept the same. Most of the backgrounds were changed in some way, shape, or form. But this also brings the question of, again, like, why was the AI used in the first place? People were speculating essentially that for a lesser known anime, it's not like Naruto or One Piece or any of that, that the suspect, the theory was that this studio was trying to see if they could get away with using generative AI as the background. And because they couldn't, they issued an apology, changed it, and they're kind of like, oh shit, well, I guess for the bigger animes, we can't be doing that. That was a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory I saw in some comments. Another one that people were speculating was just budget cuts. And so due to budget cuts, etc., that they were trying to cut corners. Obviously, people weren't going to be okay with generative AI used for character art, but maybe they were trying to see if background art was going to be something they could get away with. And the account adds, for the production team, the whole situation was terrible, since besides all the retaliation, they had to rush to produce a new version, instead of already having a definitive one from the start. And another person writes, the whole situation is unfortunate. Reworking those backgrounds on such a tight schedule must have been exhausting, but it does show that fan pushback against AI can have an impact on major studios. And another person adds, the most interesting thing about this video is that it confirms exactly all the parts where they used it and where they didn't. And here you can see kind of like a more full version of the side-by-side where, again, you can see where they used it and where they didn't change the background, right? This background was kept the same, but this one was not. Some of the frames in the background are different now. These scenes were all kept the same, but this is just one element in the anime space that kind of signals maybe a turn for what role generative AI is going to play. This is a post made by Annie TV, writing, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1 Chief Animation Director Death Note Animation Director said that some animation studios are using AI in secret. So this is the post on Blue Sky, and their Blue Sky handle is Turu Minishi, and this is what the Google translation reads, and there might be some nuances with the translation, right? Various companies have already begun implementing practices such as developing storyboards in the style of specific artists, or using generative AI to draft preliminary layouts for directorial adjustments. For that matter, even if Aniplex were to declare they weren't gonna use it, could the production studios commissioned to do the actual work really afford to stop using it, especially when they're already paying fees to tech companies for access? After all, Aniplex falls into the camp that advocates for developing generative AI to produce more anime. They are a manufacturing-oriented enterprise, not a collective of creators. Consequently, their claims lack a certain degree of credibility. Fundamentally, it seems they simply do not have a firm grasp of how the production committee system actually operates. And Annie TV also adds, she also elaborates, quote, I suspect that companies under the umbrella of large corporations that only look at the numbers do use it. Of course, we're getting bits and pieces of info here and there, but each company is keeping it a secret because it would cause a firestorm. In response to Aniplex's statement that they won't use AI, she says their statement lacks credibility because orders come from higher ups. If a company that develops AI tech gives those orders, studios can't say no. She says studios like UFO Table don't need to use AI because they have very talented people. It would only diminish the work and hinder talent development. And this is a very interesting comment that I agree with. First, if AI were truly good, it wouldn't need to be kept secret. Second, which studios? Give me examples. Simply saying it's happening doesn't mean anything. Obviously, having names would be extremely helpful to substantiate claims, but at the same time, for job security, they probably cannot name names for possibly being blacklisted in the industry. That's at least what I would suspect. This is probably likely something that is happening, and this is something that we've already heard about in a lot of spaces, where people who work in art or animation spaces have said that there are higher ups trying to pressure them to use generative AI in their process because the higher ups think it will save time or money or some other things. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happening, as we've seen in the case of Ascendance of the Bookworm in the anime space as well. So, what are your thoughts about this entire situation? Do you like or watch that anime specifically? What are your thoughts on using generative AI in some aspects of the process, like generating backgrounds? Would love to hear your thoughts with respect in the comment section down below, and please don't send hate to any parties involved. And with that, if you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. I would love to hear what your favorite anime is. Mine, personally, is Attack on Titan. I also really like Apothecary Diaries. Oh my god, love Apothecary Diaries. Don't forget to check me out at Etsy. I have digital art there for streamers and creators. I also have a coffee with free resources, and I stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays and Saturdays at 6 p.m. or Thursdays at 7:30, which is a podcast with my friend. And with that, I hope to catch y'all there or in another video. Peace.